12. That's how many times we had to put on and take off our crampons on the way to Ober Gabelhorn. But before we get into the details, after a beautiful ascent of Zinalrothorn yesterday, we spent the night at the Rothorn Hut. We slept for 8 hours and I have never slept that long before a 4000 meter climb. We chose the normal route via Wellenkuppe. First we crossed the glacier, then the ridge to the Wellenkuppe, and then finally the most beautiful and challenging part, the climb from Wellenkuppe to Ober Gabelhorn. We woke up at 3:30 am. It took us an hour to get ready and have breakfast. The hut was packed that day. We set off like others at 4:30 am. The first surprise awaited us right away. No one was going to Ober Gabelhorn that day. All the teams were heading in a line of headlamps towards Zinalrothorn. Dawn started to break after about an hour of hiking. We followed the tracks which led us along the left side of the glacier. We didn't need the crampons anymore. We rode up and started our summit push toward Wellenkuppe. The difficulties on the Wellenkuppe ridge don't exceed grade 2A. The main challenge is navigation. Initially we moved slightly to the left of the main ridge, but soon we should have hit the ridge by ascending through the first gully. We went a little too far and ended up reaching the main ridge via an exposed chimney. Once we are on the ridge, the way is straightforward. The path is clear and the terrain flattens out for a while.
Le soleil est sorti de l'horizon. Hop.
The last difficult section lay ahead, leading to the summit of Wellenkuppe. These are the so-called cracked slabs. This part of the ridge is equipped with bolts. It's a magnificent climb. The rock is solid, nothing underfoot moves, and there are rappel points for the descent. This brought us to the Wellenkuppe summit. The crampon dance continued as the last few meters before the summit were on ice. We reached the top a little over 3 hours after leaving the hut. We took a 2-minute break and immediately set off toward Ober Gabelhorn.
So we are 40 meters below the summit of Wellenkuppe, and here the glacier begins. It means we will have to put on the crampons, put some sunscreen, ice axe, and what else? And yeah, the glasses, of course. Voila.
The ridge between Ober Gabelhorn and Wellenkuppe would be straightforward if not for one tower, the Kluckturm. It marks the pass between the two peaks. Once again we took off our crampons and started the climb. Without using the fixed ropes you would encounter difficulties up to 4C. Personally I wouldn't have managed it without climbing shoes, so I opted for the fixed ropes.
Also, hier haben wir die erste Fixseile, wie auf dem Matterhorn.
After that, we descended from the tower and put the crampons back on, along with our ice axes. Now we were on the final glacier. We crossed it quickly, but later, during the descent, it became a challenge. It was mid-August, and after such a sunny day, the snow turned slushy, and the glacier was sheer ice. We passed two teams coming from Arbengrad route. They told us that conditions up ahead were excellent, which boosted our morale. The glacier ended, so once again off came the crampons. Ahead was the final section of the ascent. This was the most technically challenging part, rated at 3B. Throughout the climb we would encounter grade 2 terrain with two grade 3 sections, and this was the first of them. There were no footholds, and without climbing shoes it wasn't easy. My climbing partner handled it more smoothly than I did. It's definitely a tough spot and gets the adrenaline pumping.
Ej! Ja bym nie powiedział, że to jest 3B!
The second grade 3 section followed shortly after the first. Also technically demanding, but I found it easier than the first one. The work remained stable and was absolutely fantastic. Now we were on the final meters to the summit, still on grade 2 terrain with massive exposure to the north. We made excellent time reaching the summit after 5 hours 30 minutes from the Rothorn Hut.
Alright, there is no cross on the top, but we've just reached the summit of Ober Gabelhorn, 4,060 meters of the sea level. It was a difficult one, not a very high one, because only a bit above 4,000 meters, but really it was challenging, I have to say. It's 10 AM, so a great time and a great weather. It's a bit windy, but better than yesterday on Zinalrothorn, so yeah. Whoa!
We were alone at the top and it was still early. Everything went really perfectly well. We spent about 30 minutes on the summit and then began our descent. Right from just below the peak we started rappelling down. With a 60 meters rope it went smoothly. The challenge came on the glacier, before the Klukatuam. It was a hot day, mid-August, and the snow on the right side was really slushy, causing us to sink into the bergschrunds. While the left side was sheer ice, we used ice screws for protection. In the end, the descent took us a little longer than the ascent. We reached Zermatt just after sunset. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.